Hey there, I'm Chris from Intro Games. This is a quick look at Bot Battle for 2 to 4 players, takes about 30 minutes to play, and is for ages 8 and up. It's time for fighting robots. Bot Battle is a fast-paced game of drafting bot parts and destruction, where rock, paper, scissors meets the classic game of war. A game has two phases, the building phase and the battle phase. During the building phase, players will construct their robot by drafting the specific pieces they want their robot to have. You'll want to draft a variety of weapons, armor, and move cards, and since you can see what everyone's drafting, the strategy starts early. Each person drafts one card from each of the rows, and you'll keep these face up in front of you. When this is done, the drafting phase is over. So let's take a closer look at some of these cards. Each card has a set amount of power that it can produce, provided it's not too damaged. When the game starts, your card has 0 damage, and it will produce the most power, which is 6 on this card right now. This card produces 7 at the start of the game, this one produces 5. And as each card takes damage, the amount of power it can do is lower. When it reaches the number in the red gear, that means that card is destroyed and it becomes the property, it's claimed by the opponent. A couple of icons towards the bottom of the cards can affect how much power that thing produces, or gives you a couple of options as to what happens after the battle ends. For example, this icon here means inverted. So if your bot has been flipped and you're inverted, this piece of the bot will do 1 less power than it otherwise would. If you have the huge wheels, you can flip yourself back to normal, and normally this does some damage to that piece. In this case, on the spike, flipping yourself from inverted back to normal would cause 1 damage, but the huge wheels are special, they don't cause any damage. And finally, the spike has an icon here that says, if this card wins, invert your opponent. That's basically what that means. Okay, so with the drafting done, we've taken a quick look at the cards, we are ready to get into battle. I've zoomed out here just for a second to show the full board, which is totally optional. It could be a neoprene mat in the final production. It's just here mainly to facilitate gameplay and to show players where things go. When we're playing, this could just be my row of 5 drafted cards, along with the gears just above them that shows how much damage this piece has taken. When the game starts, they all start on 0, and as the game goes on, we'll rotate these to show that the thing has been damaged. So during the battle phase, we're going to play 2 of the number cards in our hand face down, 1 against the opponent to our left, and 1 against the opponent to our right. In a 2-player game, this is the same person. These number cards correspond to the cards we have drafted. So if I want to play the saw blade against the opponent to my left, I'll simply put the number 1 card right there. If I want to play the number 2 card, the medium wheels, I'm going to play that right there. Now, this is where the rock, paper, scissors comes into play. Mobility beats weapons. In other words, the move cards help you run away from your weapons. The weapons defeat armor, and then the armor helps pin or prevent mobility of the opposing bot. Okay, so in this 2-player example, we have both players have played 2 cards. We'll reveal these face up to resolve the battles. So we have my number 1 card, my saw blade, versus my opponent's number 2 card, their aluminum shell. So weapon beats armor, and the losing card will always take at least 1 damage, and may take more if the winning card's number is higher. You just do additional damage equal to the difference. So in this case, my saw blade number is 5. The opponent's armor is 7. Their number is higher, but they still take 1 damage because they lost. And then my number 2 card, my medium wheels, versus my opponent's number 5, their aluminum wedge. Armor beats move. So my wheels are going to take 1 damage at least. It's 5 to 6, so that's all the damage it takes. This thing on the card at the bottom again shows that if it wins, it flips me. So I'm going to track that right here by changing my normal to inverted. So some of my cards will be less powerful as long as I'm inverted. So at the start of the game, This under chip starts in the middle of the table, and the first person to flip their opponent will collect it. Again, this is thematic to the world of BattleBots, in which you are scraping under your opponent, you get some leverage, some more control over them. So because he used a card that flipped me, this opponent gets the under chip, and while I'm inverted, I'm at a disadvantage. When my opponent has the under token, they have an advantage. What I can do on a future turn is I can use my spike to uninvert me, to flip me back to normal. I see that that's going to cause that piece 1 damage, but based on the cards that I drafted, that's the only card that lets me do that. So I know I need to do this, and my opponent can also see that I need to do that, but my opponent won't know where I will put that number 4 if I do in fact decide to play. As bot parts take damage, you'll rotate the gear to show how much damage has been done. When it's taken enough damage, according to the red cracked gear, that card is destroyed, and the opponent claims that card. That number is now points for that opponent, the person that destroyed it. The game ends when any bot has had 3 of its 5 pieces destroyed, and the player that did the most points of damage wins. The game aims to combine the fast-paced strategy found in real-world bot battles with some classic mechanics that are intuitive even to casual players. Each play is different since the draft of parts is different, and what your opponent's bots become will be different. Will your bot come out on top? This has been Bot Battle, and I've been Chris Backe. Thanks for watching.